to me is successful. I mean, at the peak of my career, I was traveling, I was doing so well, I was having so many contracts. One thing I failed miserably is I didn't have a good support group, close family, a close group of friends who was able to help me through that period. So I struggled a lot on my own. I had very many sleepless nights. My health was deteriorating. So while on the outside it seems to be very successful, but I think internally I was actually failing.
So you were not sleeping?
I was not able to sleep, and I was having nightmare. I was having difficult time having a peace of mind when I sleep. So to me, in today's context, I would say, yeah, if you're able to wake up in the morning and say, yeah, I had a very good rest, I think to me you've been very successful. And it doesn't mean also that because you have nothing to do and therefore you sleep well.
Mm-hmm.
Where people who has nothing to do but they don't sleep well, it's because they are so bogged down by what could have been, what should have been, and what might have been. So I think it's an attitude, but it's also a reality that you make happen for yourself.
What was the turning point of that realization?
Well,
what changed?
It was a journey of discovery, I think. It's not something that just suddenly... it's just that as you start to shift, you start to learn to let go certain things. Like, for example, I used to think that, flying business class on a plane is very important. It shows status and things like that. But as I slowly start to let go on some things like that, I began to be able to say, hey, well, if I can live with that, maybe I'm also good to just travel on a bus, take the public transport. And guess what? When I'm in that position, I realize I can expose myself to a lot more
flavors in
people
life.
in life, yeah, and suddenly, hey, life is actually not so bad because there are so many struggles in life, and you start to have different references in your own life. When you're up there in a business class, all the left, right people who are all
to be respected,
living in the same kind of condition,
and
his only question is who is going to be the first one who's going to hit the first class cabin before you, and if that's the kind of mentality you're living by, then yeah, it may be successful on one side of the equation, but on the other side it could be a total failure of having a peaceful and restful life, So how do you find that balance?
Both, right? Yeah, material or freedom?
I think you can, but you must know where is the limit. I always apply the two equation. One is the return of investment. We all want to put in something and have meaningful return.
Yeah.
But how do you judge whether this ROI is useful and meaningful? It's really apply the theory of diminishing return. There are certain things that you reach a point where no matter how much effort you put in, the return is going to diminish. If you go into financial or economics, there's a point where debt to equity ratio will become negative no matter how much more debt that you bring in. So shareholders' value will start to go down. So that is a tipping point in anything. So you're going to decide at some point where that point of diminishing returns start to happen, and maybe that's the time where you have to relook at your ROI. Is your effort going to produce the kind of return that will be meaningful? So, and if it's not, then maybe you shouldn't pay too much attention to that anymore, because no matter how much more you put in, it's not going to generate meaningful return. Put on something. I learned about that with my child. That's why I decided to put time into my children's life, because I know that every day and every hour I put in will generate a lot more return in their future and their quality of their character and hopefully their life, much more than I would be able if I spend one more day in an office, because the office is just going to be another day doing the same thing.
The shareholders' value versus your kids' value.
Yeah, and so therefore that's where you kind of measure and say,
which one is more important?
Maybe at this point I should just put this aside and spend more time on that. And if you are able to keep discovering that, then you find that you are able to hopefully balance that aspect. I would say 7 areas. Your faith is important, because that to me gives you the baseline values and life principles for you. Irremovable things that you can't change, is there always guiding you. Your work or your field of work, your friends, your family, your health, your fitness, your finances is important. Finances doesn't mean it's being very rich. Finances means you're very self-aware of how you're spending your money and where your money is going to, and what is essential and what is good to have. If you have very clear understanding of your financial condition, then you are in a
You won't
better
be held
position.
hostage.
You will not be held, and you know how to respond when things doesn't go well. Oh, there's a economic crisis. Stop spending the good to have. Just keep the essential. Then you realize, hey, actually, I don't really need that money. But if you're spending all your time and effort to just spend the good to have, and be totally addicted to it, then you find that it's never enough money.
So it's better to have a $50 purse and $450 in it
Yeah.
than a $500 purse, as Mahathir say,
Yeah.
and nothing in it.
Exactly. And you have that, then you enjoy. You have a financial freedom. To me.